WrestleCast podcast starts now. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first ever WrestleCast podcast show. We're glad to have everybody on. Yes, we are live, so anything can happen. I just want to say good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I am your host, Cowboy Bob. That's right. WrestleCast podcast is my show. And with this show, anything goes. And we're going to get down to the dirt when it comes to indie wrestling. And tonight's guest, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only Max Cortez. Let's go ahead and get him in the room. Hey, yeah. Max, it's glad to have you on, man. How you doing out there, brother?
Good, brother. How you been?
I've been doing good, doing real good, man. I'll tell you, it's been busy. So can't complain. Hey, busy's good. You know?
Oh, yeah. Definitely good.
Yeah, one thing about WrestleCast is we like the dirt around here. We like to get the dirt, you know. We want to dive deep and find out a lot when it comes to an indie wrestler. You know, a lot of people, I don't think they understand exactly what you guys go through. You know, they go to these shows, they go to the local shows, you know, and they have a good time and they go home and they talk about it a little bit and they might forget, but it's you guys who are out there running the roads, man, traveling all over the place, putting in the miles, and taking the bumps and taking the hard hits. You know, I hear so much when people talk about WrestleCast. Wrestling is fake. I hear that I've heard that phrase a lot. I want to say that wrestling is very painful and can be, and you know. You're one of those guys who definitely know this firsthand. How long you actually been wrestling, Max?
I've been wrestling for 28 years.
Wow, that's a long time, man. That's a long time. A lot of experience. Seen a lot of places, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, from one side of this country to the other, up and down, side to side.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Let me jump in here and ask you some questions because. That's what we want to jump in here and do this for the fans here. What's the hardest part about building a career on the independent scene?
I honestly think getting your foot in the door with some of the bigger companies, getting seen, getting yourself out there. Starting out, I've trained a lot of guys, and the first thing I tell them, you know, everybody's got the delusions of grandeur. Oh, I'm going to go to WWE. No, you're not.
Right.
Get it out your head now. If you can get there, cool. But the first things first, you got to get your foot in the door with every little indie promotion. You got to work everywhere you can, get your name out there as much as you can. And then you got to start meeting people. Then you meet other people and so on and so forth. Then luck has it. Then you might be, you know, 1 in a million.
You know what, man? It's a trip that you say that because my son's 20 years old and he loves wrestling. Ever since he was a child, he loved wrestling. And I took him to Raw and I took pictures of that little kid when he was little, falling asleep with his John Cena hat and shirt on.
Wow.
Now he's 20 years old and he's ready to go and he's high strung and he's ready to do the thing. And I explained to him that not everybody's going to make it. You know, it's a big dream, and you hope and pray that one day you're going to get through that door. But you've got to, how do you say it? You've got to pave the way for yourself. You got to get out there and dig hard.
Oh yeah.
And you got to have that experience behind your belt. You can't just walk into these places and go, okay, whatever. But I'm here, you know. But I'll tell you this. I told him he needs to get in with the independent scene. He needs to go to a performance center, local performance center, and learn some things, and things like that. So he's more he's coming around now, and that's a good thing.
There you go.
I wanted to say here we got a question for you. Zone of interest. Hey, welcome to the show. Ask the question: who trained you?
George South.
Man, I know George South. I know him really well. Grew up from down the road from George. Actually, he wasn't home. He was traveling a lot.
Yeah. Well, actually, there's a bit of a story behind that.
Okay.
I started in Lorain, Ohio, with a guy named Jim Knight, who was, what the hell did he go by? He was the original mercenary. He was what they called, and I hate using this, but they called him. They were jobbers back in the '80s for Vince.
Okay.
He was one of them guys. Okay, I started with him, and I ended up moving down here to North Carolina, and had the unfortunate. I'm not even going to do that. First person I came across was the Italian Stallion.
Okay. All right.
And Stallion, I met George, and George completed my training. And if nobody knows anything about George South, he is the Sigmund Freud of ring psychology when it comes to professional wrestling.
Wow.
That long, yeah. I kind of went around my rear end to get to my elbow when it comes to getting trained.
Hey, at the end of the day, you made it happen. We're talking 28 years. That's nothing. Yeah, that's a big feat.
Yes,
That's
sir.
huge. Let me ask you this real quick. When it comes down to how you built your career and everything, how do you balance wrestling with the rest of your life? Like your personal life, your family. I'm sure it's you've got to get out there and like I said, dig deep. So when you're running the roads and you're out here, you're traveling, it's hard to make sometimes birthdays. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you've missed events,
Ooh.
with the family. So how do you balance wrestling with the rest of your life?
Well, at the beginning of my career, my life was completely about wrestling. I was on the road so much, going here, going there, doing this, doing that. I basically missed my little girl growing up. It cost me my first marriage.
Uh-huh.
As time went on, when I met my current wife, which is Miss Felony, my manager, things slowed down a little bit. I work a regular job, as most of us do, and I more or less nowadays pick and choose. When I'm working, when I'm not, when I'm wrestling, when I'm not. I got, like we were talking before, I got 15 more months, and I'm done. 30 years, it's over with, man. And the only reason we hit the 30-year mark is because both Miss Felony and I are big, humongous fans of The Undertaker. He hit around the 30-year thing, so I want to be like him. I wish I had his type of money, but we'll go the anniversary. We'll just kind of hit that milestone.
Heck yeah, I got you. Zone of Interest has got another question for you. What wrestling shows are you working at?
Right now, I am in, where am I? I'm in Gastonia, North Carolina on the 21st of this month. I'm in Akron, Ohio, January 25th. Right now, that's pretty much it because, like I said, right as it stands right now, work comes first. I'm taking probably once a month, if that.
I got you. Wow. That's a lot, man. Like I said, and like I was telling the fans, traveling. You guys are out there, hitting the beat, man. You're doing the thing, and it's not easy. It's very hard, and it's hard on your bodies. It's hard on your families. If sometimes they can't go with you, they're going to miss you, and and then God forbid something happen in the show where you get injured or something, you know. That goes out to all those fans who thinks this is fake. Yes, it's storytelling, but hey, when it comes to that ring, you don't know. Accidents happen, and bad stuff can happen. So I've had a friend of mine one time, years and years ago. He actually wound up getting his shoulder dislocated. The guy actually walked the rope like the Undertaker.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And when he come down, that was it. Dislocated the shoulder. We had to take him to the hospital.
Oh man,
that happened in Shelby, North Carolina, years ago. I don't want to tell how many years. I'll be telling my age. Zonovich is tearing us up here. We got. Let's see. What show is running in Gastonia? That would, I think, Gastonia is See No Evil Wrestling Zone of Interest. I believe that's what that is.
That is right.
Yeah. They have a show that they do over there at the VFW in Gastonia, North Carolina. Sure do. How did I get my name? Well, to tell you the truth about that, I've always been a country boy. Always. All right. I've rode horses. I've worked on the farm. Man, I just I'm about as country as it gets, I guess, sometimes, I love singing country music. But no, I had a promoter that actually gave me that name. And so it stuck. And you know what? I appreciated it. So here we are. Cowboy Bob. So, here we go. Hashtag Truth has a question. Max, what do you think about modern indie wrestling compared to when you came in? Man, that's a good question right there.
That is a good question. You're gonna put me on the spot, man. For
hey,
real.
Man, you know what? When Scott pops off the question, it's good stuff.
Well, let me put it this way. It was, to me, it was harder to get in back then.
Okay.
Nowadays, it seems like anybody with a ring can be a promoter. Anybody with a ring, access to a ring, can be a wrestler. There's a lot of guys that are. Let me quote. Oh, and I love doing this too. A very, very, very great man, a legend. Manny Fernandez once told us, not us, but a bunch of young guys in Kings Mountain Armory, just because you buy a pair of boots does not make you a wrestler. A lot of guys and the younger guys need to understand that. It's to me, it's a matter of respect. We were taught respect back then. It's kind of diminished to a point nowadays. I'm not saying totally. And there's a lot of good talent because these kids are a little more athletic than we were back in the day. And we wouldn't do half the stuff that they do now. But in the same sense, storytelling's kind of gone down a little bit as well. If that answers the question, I mean, that's kind of my opinion on it, but everybody has their own. That's just the way I kind of see it from an old school point of view.
I got you. See No Evil Wrestling. There's Ben. It says, hello, Cowboy Bob and Max. How you doing?
What's up, Ben?
I appreciate you stopping in for sure. Definitely. Welcome to WrestleCast Podcast. I tell you, let's get back to these questions because I've got some. I want to get that dirt, Max. Let's see. What is your approach to a storytelling in the ring? Now that's a good question.
Ooh, I can sum it up, I guess, pretty simply. Heel tells the story. I being as old school as I am, I honestly can't go any further into it than that. But the heel will tell the story. If you got a good heel in there, then that's all you need. He'll make that baby face look like $1 million and not really do a whole lot. If you think about it, you watch some of George's matches. That man could get 25 minutes worth of heat, not even take off his jacket.
Right. Yeah, you're exactly right. I tell you what, but great guy.
Oh, yeah.
Great guy. Got a big heart. He's awesome. Yeah. Let's see here. Have you faced any obstacles breaking into certain promotions, and how did you overcome them?
it took some talking, to get into a couple, just because of the fact of going into a new area.
Mm-hmm.
OU, like when we moved, um, my father is from Ohio, so that's how I ended up moving back up there 13 years ago. Before we moved back here, anyhow, moving into a new area, I had a name here, I didn't have a name there. So when I go up there, and I'm thinking, okay, I am who I am, and my name carries weight back home, and they go, well, you ain't nobody here. And then the whole, well, we want video and we want tryouts, and we want, how insulting that is. But and then you have to think about it. You know what? You're stepping into somewhere new, brother. You got to do what you got to do.
That's right. Got to earn them stripes, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Even as old as I am, you still got to do it sometimes.
Yeah. I've got a good friend of mine. He's also a wrestler, and he travels. And he had brought that up because he had been doing it for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go to a different place, it's you're walking in green.
Oh yeah,
you're walking in green. So you got to show what you're made of.
Yeah.
And so I do get that 100%. I understand that really a lot. Being said, I plugged. Oh wow! Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That's great. Yes, thank you so much. Oh yes, yeah. There we go, Max. There we go.
Scares me.
What is the most unexpected thing that has ever happened to you at a show?
Oh, this is good.
Yeah,
I was at a show in Vail, North Carolina.
Okay.
And I was working this guy that I had just worked him the night before. And we were working the match pretty much identical to the night before.
Right.
Well, he goes for an angle slam, and I hear the words, "Oh shit." He slipped, and when he slipped, he pushed me up, and when he pushed me up, I come straight down on the top of my head. I was paralyzed from the waist down for 6.5 hours.
Ooh,
yeah, they had to stop the show, call the squad, do all that. And the funny thing is, and it still kind of tickles me to this very day, the first person to slide into the ring, grab my head to stabilize me, was Buddy Landale.
Wow.
Brother, don't move. And I was like, the only thing I was worried about was I could not feel my lower appendage,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of concerned about that.
Yeah, that'll freak you out.
But yeah, that had to been the most surprising and terrifying moment of my entire career.
Wow, that is something else, man. See, that's why I say these guys. A lot of folks don't realize, like I said, how people get their necks broken all the time, all the time. So danger's out there when it comes to pro wrestling, whether it's on television or whether it's the indie scene. It is dangerous. And to be honest with you, I would even go as far as I think it's more dangerous on the indie scene than it is pro.
Oh yeah, yeah. We work harder.
Yeah. So we got another question right here. #truth says, in 28 years, what do you think is your biggest accomplishment?
Meeting my wife.
Wow, that's a good answer.
Because the reason I say that is because I got the opportunity through Stallion, of all people, to do a dark match at what used to be the Independence Arena, which is now the Bojangles Coliseum, with WCW. And she just happened to be in the crowd that night. And then saw me at the Kings Mountain Armory, asked for an autograph for her 2 young kids. And as of the 18th of this month, we'll be married 25 years.
That is awesome. Congratulations. That's great. That's awesome.
That is my biggest accomplishment. Everybody would think, well, oh, it's this belt, that belt, the other belt. Nope. It's my wife, dude.
There you go. That's awesome. Great answer. #truth. You just made a fan of my wife. Good answer. There you go.
Hey, she is my manager. She is my best friend.
You know what, man? And you know, honestly, that was going to be uh, almost one of those questions down there close to the end because my best friend is my wife. You know, she's my number one fan. She's my number one cheerleader, and I'm grateful for her. I'm very thankful for her. You know, she stands behind me through thick and thin, and no matter what I want to go out here and do, she's got my back, and she believes in me, and I think that is very important in a relationship.
Oh yeah.
And like I said, man, I wouldn't get rid of her or trade her for nothing, and I hope she feels the same way. uh,
Me from doing some of the dumb stuff in the ring I actually want to do. I come up with these ideas, and she goes, you remember you're 51? Oh yeah, that's right. Duh.
yeah, yeah. Sometimes you got to remember that exactly.
Yeah.
How do you connect with fans when constantly performing in different cities?
Oh.
Yeah.
See, back in the old days, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I had what we called the Kevin Nash approach. I'd show up. I wouldn't go out there, wouldn't sign an autograph, wouldn't take a picture until said best friend of mine slapped me upside the head and said, "Hey, if it wasn't for those folks out there, you wouldn't have a job. Get your ass out there and sign some autographs." So I don't mind nowadays. I mean, I'll go out at intermission, even with the baby faces and whatnot, and I'll go to my gimmick table, or I'll walk around the ring or whatever, and I'll talk. It doesn't matter. It's nothing personal. It's business.
There you go. There you go. You know, I love interacting with the fans. I do. Uh, I've got my own merch. By the
Cool.
way, I got Cowboy Bob merch, folks. You can DM me privately, and we will set you up. We got shirts, we got microphones, inflatable microphones, by the way, and the sign. And we'll do like the whole YouTube thing. Like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and that way you're going to get people coming and watching the same WrestleCast podcast, and they're going to learn stuff just like Max right here is telling all of us the inside secrets and giving us the dirt. How do you handle your injuries, both physically and mentally, when it comes to getting put out of commission, or now maybe say you're in the ring and you're injured, and how do you deal with that mentally and physically? That is a great question.
Well, in the ring, if I'm injured,
Mm-hmm.
I get hurt in the ring. My mindset is finish the match. There's people came, they want to see a show. You got to finish. You got to do what you got to do.
Right.
Deal with it afterwards. I actually just came back off an injury. Cost me a little time at work, but it's the life we choose.
Right.
So we have to kind of take the good with the bad. That's probably the best way I can put that.
I understand that. That makes sense. Definitely makes sense. What sacrifices have you had to make for your wrestling career?
Missing on a lot of the years of my daughter growing up, and a lot of the resentment she has, even as as an adult now. I still catch it from time to time. Well, you weren't there for this, or you weren't there for that because you were on the road. I'm like, yeah, I was actually trying to make a better life for you.
Yeah.
But that was before the economy took a nosedive. I mean, Daddy actually was making money at this, and then all of a sudden, Daddy wasn't. So I had to get a real job.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got a few friends, and I hear them. They talk about it. Hey, look, I've got to do this. I'm still doing my regular job, but I'm doing better, and I'm progressing. So it's good to hear that. It's good that they stay, motivated. But yeah, you're right. They also have their own personal job that they have to go to every day and
Right.
Take care of their life or whatever. Scott said, Max, what is the best piece of advice you would give someone just coming into wrestling? That's a good question. Very good question.
best piece of advice I can give you is find a reputable trainer. And if this is exactly what you know you want to do, don't do it just because you watch it on TV. Don't do it because you've seen little, how-to things on YouTube. If this is what's in your heart, this is what you want to do, get yourself a reputable trainer and put everything you got into learning your craft and get yourself out there and do it.
There you go. Very good answer. How would you measure success as an independent wrestler?
Obviously, it's not by money.
Okay.
I would have to say by the amount of people that come to see you in whatever town that you're going to be at, regardless of the town. If you're in, say, let's just say North Carolina.
Right.
Let's say I'm going to be in Gastonia. Okay, 150 people want to come see me in Gastonia. Then I'm going to be in, let's say, Raleigh the following day. 200 people want to follow all the way up there just to see me.
Yeah.
If you're building your name, that's it.
So you gotta stay consistent.
Absolutely.
What inspired your persona in the ring?
Oh man, I've gone through so many over the last couple of decades. In the 90s, there was a time, it was before Kevin Thorne, I did the vampire thing.
Yeah.
I did the goth thing. And then I found me, which is just this, well, coming through the curtain, that guy is self-centered, narcissistic, and for lack of a better words, an asshole.
Yeah, right.
That's it's kind of funny. The way I got my name, I was like I said, up in Ohio. Before I came down here, I was supposed to be in a tag team. Now, mind you, I wasn't totally trained, but they put me in a tag team.
Okay.
It was supposed to be Bull and Ox, the Cortez brothers. And I said, the hell if you're calling me an ox. I'll be, no. He said, well, what do you want to call yourself? Well, there was a movie back then, Man's Best Friend, about that genetically modified Rottweiler.
Yeah.
Well, I had a Rottweiler. His name was Max. So basically, I named myself after my dog.
Okay, I got you.
That's how Max Cortez came to be.
Oh wow, that's cool. That's cool.
But I mean,
to
see me outside of the ring and inside of the ring, you would think it was two different people.
And you know what? It should be. I think it should be. As far as, because when you're doing what you're doing in the ring, that's a character there that you're doing, and I don't ever like to use the word say a character you're playing. I don't like that because, man, it get crazy in the squared circle.
Oh yeah.
But definitely, and then when you come home, I'm sure your wife don't want you, trying to run through the house and body slammer, or you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I get it. Definitely. I'll tell you, I'm a martial artist. Okay, I studied martial arts ever since I was 3 years old. Before they created a law that you had to be 5.
Oh, nice.
And when I came home, even as an adult and still training and teaching and whatever, it was just embedded into me. So anything and everything that I did, that was a part of it.
Oh yeah.
And I had to learn and to adapt to hey, look, I got to separate. When I go home, I have to separate myself from trying to be the local karate kid. What would you say influenced you the most in your wrestling career?
As far as getting into it,
Yeah.
two people, Ric Flair
Mm-hmm.
and Fernandez.
Okay. Cool.
I
I
grew
like,
up a big Horseman fan.
you know what? I'm with you on it. I'm with you. What about Dean Malenko? Come on now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How
See, I
about this
met.
right here? Scott's got it.
Oh,
Thank you for answering all the questions, sir. Do you think wiping your feet before getting in the ring is dying off?
I do, and it's sad. It breaks my heart every time I see someone jumping into the ring without it. Because I mean, even at my age, I'm still doing it, and seeing guys getting in the ring without doing it, honestly, dude, it pisses me off, and I just want to kick them square in their rear end. But I mean, it's and what that is to me is that's showing how they're trained,
Yeah.
lack thereof. You know, they're obviously their trainer didn't explain that part to them, and yeah, I truly do believe that it is dying off.
Wow. Yeah, you know, I watch when I'm watching television and I'm watching wrestling, I look for that. I
Mm-hmm.
really do. I've saw a few slip up and not do it, or just I like you say, just don't even care or wasn't being trained right, and it's sad. It is. It is a sad thing.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered? Well, we know that answer. I was about to ask if you ever considered walking away. We know that that 30-year mark's coming up.
There.
Um, and what has kept you in there for 30 years?
The love of the business.
Yeah.
And for the last, I'd say 7 years, it'd have to be my little boy.
I got to meet your son, and I think that youngin is amazing. I'm here to tell you, he is phenomenal. He is great kid, and boy, he roots you on. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I love that. I love that. I sit there and I watch, and I'm just like, yeah, you go, kid. He's awesome. Definitely. What do you think the wrestling industry needs to do better for indie talent?
We need to go back to territories.
Okay.
It would promote indie talent better.
Uh huh.
It would showcase a lot of companies that should be showcased that aren't getting, that particular spotlight, and certain talent that should be getting that spotlight that will never see it.
Mm-hmm.
We had it. It might actually work. It might actually help a lot.
Okay. What that kind of goes along with that. What would be your biggest goal in the industry?
As far as
I mean, you know, because now you're fixing to retire, so obviously, you know, trying to move up the ladder to a higher level is you know that's not even a question now
right,
because now we're we're coming up to retirement. Man, that's going to be a day right there. That's going to be a day to hang them boots. You know what I'm saying, man? That's going to be a day.
oh yeah,
That's going to be that's something. I think you're going to feel that deep in your heart. You're going to feel that in your chest. That's going
absolutely.
to it's going to be a frog in the throat right there, Max.
That is that is. Leading up to it,
Yes,
I just want to have fun. I
there
just
you
want
go.
to do business while I can still.
Yeah, for sure. Uh, Tito says, Max, turn the lights on.
The old lady's kind of sleeping. I'm sitting in my room. I was watching Sons of Anarchy before you called.
Well, there you go, Tito.
Good.
What's your answer? uh, you know what? I think I'm going to ask this last one, and we're going to get to close in here a little bit. What legacy do you hope to leave in wrestling? And that is an awesome question.
When people look back and think about me or talk about me, I hope they say, you know what? he was helpful. He was knowledgeable. He gave decent advice. He wasn't too big of a ass. Wasn't that hard of a guy to work with. I very respectful. That's my biggest thing, dude. That's the one thing. If they remember me for nothing else, is respect.
Heck yeah, I like that. I like that. And you know what? Since I've known you, you've been nothing but respectful. You know, so it's kind of hard to say, hey, you know, see that guy in the ring there? He's being really mean and all this stuff, and he's so respectful.
It's weird, isn't it?
Man, he pulls that off really well.
Flip a switch.
Tito says it's his high school buddy Miguel.
Oh, Migs, what's up, bub?
How cool is that, huh?
That is
So
awesome.
you never know who's going to drop by on WrestleCast podcast.
True. Wow. Yeah, I've known that dude since oh my god, middle school actually.
Wow. Scott says, love this show. Thank you, Cowboy Bob. Great first guest. God bless you, Mr. Cortez. Man, that is awesome.
Thank you.
And we appreciate you so much, Scott. We really do. Thank y'all all for stopping by. You know, and most of all, Max, man, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to stop by and be our first guest on the WrestleCast podcast. It couldn't have turned out better, in my opinion. I'm pleased with it. We've got people in here asking questions. The chat was blowing up. Man, we got some great, valuable information out here. And this is also going on to Facebook, reaching out there. And I want these guys who's eager to join indie wrestling, who's ready to start and get into the business. I want them to hear you guys. I want them to hear what y'all guys have to say. That's going to help them pave the way for what they're planning to do with the future of their life.
Almost definitely. Young guys coming up. I mean, they are the future of the business.
That's exactly right. And I have met some good ones. Mind-blowing guys out there. They're going to be on WrestleCast podcast at some point. I promise you that. Max, we really greatly appreciate you so much for stopping by. And we will talk again, sir. It's been a pleasure, and I couldn't be more appreciative.
All right. Take care of yourself, brother.
You do the same. Thank you.
Later.
Folks, hope you've enjoyed the show. Really do. It's a blessing to me to be able to do this for you guys, and get the dirt on independent wrestling. I'm your host, Cowboy Bob, and like I always say, if you got plans, you're going to want to break them, because WrestleCast podcast is the place to be. And we will see you next Thursday, 7 p.m. right here on YouTube. And right following after that, we will be on Facebook. So take care, stay safe, God bless, and we'll see you next week.